And now you're thinking, okay, I want to improve my process. I want to improve what I'm doing. How can I do that, right? So some of the concepts that were developed to help people to understand how to make things faster and easier and better. So one of them was very important. One was to identify what he called the seven wastes, and actually there was added another one was the eighth waste. Okay, but these wastes are things that we do that were not, uh, uh, helping us to create value to the customer, but we do it and it's only a cost. So if we can get rid of that, we can be more productive. We can create more value to the customer. The first one is called overproducing. Whenever you're producing more than what you need for that next moment, right? When you're producing more than you need for that day or more than you need for that hour. Okay, so producing more than you need, it's producing before when you actually have the demand of a product, and you're basically putting all resources there, and the demand might change and you might don't want to have that anymore. Okay, so that's called over producing. So the next waste is called inventory and stock. So inventory doesn't add any value to the customer, but we need some inventory in order to cope with variation in demand. And we're going to go over chapter 9. It's going to talk about inventory management. But inventory as a whole doesn't add any value to the customer. So you don't care how much inventory a company holds. You just want your product to be delivered to your house or whatever when you want it, right? So if they can do that with 1 day of inventory, or if you can do that with 30 days of inventory or 60 days of inventory, for you as a customer, you don't care. So companies have to think about how to minimize the amount of inventory that they can have and serve the customer as expected, right? With the right quality. So inventory is waste because you're taking time, you're taking space, you're moving things around, you have to keep them, and you're not creating any value to the customer. Another waste is called motion. Motion is both workers walking and small motions like they're doing with their hands that are not adding any value to the customer. It means that you're not transforming the product in any way, right? So when you forget something and have to go back and pick it up, that's called a motion waste, right? And I have an example for you guys of that. I actually improved the process of putting the things in the table, the breakfast in the table lately. So I have two daughters, as you guys know, 6 years old and a 4 year old, and my wife. And then every day we have to take things from the pantry and put it on the table, and then I was kind of constantly going back and forth, and then my girls, they never know what they want, and then they change their minds, and then I have to pick it up because they are short and then the things are high. So one day I said, no, that's enough. I'm going to put everything on uh, tray, and then I have to, just pick it up once and then put it there. So that's what I do. What was the improvement? Well, the improvement is that I know I don't need to go back and forth several times just for them to have breakfast or lunch, right? So I reduce the motion part of my process. Okay. Another thing that I do every time before I call them for lunch or dinner, I fill their juices, so when they get there, they already have it, fill it up. If I don't do that, when I get there, they start screaming and they have to, put the juices, and that takes some time, and you have to be very focused when you have small children, okay? So these are some examples just, for you guys to know a little bit more about me. Defects, rework, and material losses. So you're spending money. So emotion, you're spending money. You're spending workers' time. Defects, we study quality. You're also spending money because you need to put more resource in doing the product again, and you cannot sell that product to customer. Over processing, that's when you're doing a process that the customer doesn't identify as value. So all the kind of gadgets and things that we have in products that we buy that we don't care about, why they do that. And the company spend money and you don't value that as a customer. Waiting time. So workers waiting, so waiting for information, waiting for the product, waiting for the equipment. You're spending money and you're not making anything. The next one is transportation. So when you're transporting product from one place to another, it doesn't add any value for you as a customer. You don't care where your product come from. When you order on Amazon, what you care is how long it takes and when it arrives, right? And the quality, of course. And the eighth one was added later on. It's the ideas not used. So basically, not use the workers, operators, or employees' ideas to improve the process. So you have here the overview of those eight wastes and the description of each one of them. And there's an acronym that you can use to actually memorize them. It's called downtime. Okay, so each one it's just an acronym for all the 7 plus 1, so 8 waste in lean systems.